So the PlayStation Classic came out, the end of last year, I think right at the beginning of December, if I'm remembering correctly, and it sold for $100 when it came out, and reviews weren't great for it. I played it, wasn't a good system, emulation was poor. Overall, I think the game selection could have been much, much better, and it just didn't go over very well with critics, and I don't think it sold very well either, as I always see them stacked up at my local Walmart, my local Best Buy. Doesn't matter where I go, they have plenty of them in stock. It is like the complete polar opposite of what I remember with something like the NES Classic or the Super Nintendo Classic, although I will say the Super Nintendo Classic was a lot easier to get than the Nintendo Classic. Still not as easy to get as the PlayStation Classic. And we have now reached a point where it seems like retailers have essentially given up on this thing as much as they can. And I don't think this is going to be the first time we see this, because this appears to be kind of one of those flash sales, I guess. It's a one-day thing. I was going to put a Newswave tomorrow, but I realized, it's going to expire tonight, basically, at the end of the day. And hey, maybe someone could actually get some use out of this. So I said, okay, we'll take a look at this, because if you buy a PlayStation 4 Pro, you will actually have the chance to get a PlayStation Classic, because they are just giving one away. They're just giving it away. If you buy a PlayStation 4 Pro for the standard price, they will just add one to your cart, and it comes in the box if you, I guess, order it online, or if you go and pick it up at a Best Buy, they will just have it in the box ready for you, and you just take it with you. That is essentially the point we are now with the PlayStation Classic, and I have to say I'm not shocked, I guess. It was a rough release for the system, and it hasn't gotten much better from Sony. In fact, Sony pretty much forgot this thing existed at this point, or they don't want people to necessarily remember. I don't see them talk about this thing at all, like ever. Like, I don't see them do their own deals really on it or anything. I mean, look, they're saying that this is a $59.99 value. It's supposed to be a $100 value. It just released not even half a year ago, and they're saying it's a $60 value when it's supposed to be a $100 value, and we've seen it massively discounted, $30, $40, all over the place. But I want to at least say, with the PlayStation Classic, that there has been at least some progress made with the system, and you know what? Maybe it is worth a pickup if you're already thinking about getting a Pro. So the thing about the PlayStation Classic is it's actually not a terrible device to get if you are going to be modifying it, hacking it, the whole thing. There are subreddits all over the place. In fact, what's really funny is the entire PlayStation Classic subreddit. This is just PlayStation Classic here. Like, it's not like PlayStation Classic mods or PlayStation Classic like hacking or anything. This is just the PlayStation Classic subreddit, and it has pretty much turned into everyone discussing how to hack the thing, best methods to do it, best programs to use on it, and that is pretty much what it's turned into. And that's because it does at least have a pretty good processor, a good chip on it and everything, a good system on a chip that they use for that. And honestly, it was actually pretty easy to hack overall. People figured it out very early on. We did a video here where I played Mega Man Legends on it, and honestly, the compatibility was like perfect. They should have put that game on there, but they didn't. And of course, it runs HDMI out, so it's pretty easy to just hook up. It's very small, doesn't make any noise, has no fan or moving parts necessarily in it, and it's actually a pretty cool device for that. $100 cool? No, I don't think so. But $30 cool? Yeah, probably. And $0 cool? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're gonna get a PlayStation 4 Pro, you might as well. Like, it's easy if you're already thinking about it. But it's a lot of people trying to figure out compatibility and everything. But we're to the point now where dropping games on there is pretty easy, to the point where it's basically drag and drop at this point. Like, you just drop the stuff on a USB stick, you pop the USB stick in, and boom. I think people are even using like USB hubs and everything. People are talking about like 4-player possibly with using hubs similar to what we did with like the multi-tap back in the day. So there is actually a very booming market right now for PlayStation Classic in terms of hacking, homebrew, and all of that. Which is kind of cool. So it is something that is at least going on. I don't think these will become valuable anytime soon, if ever at all. So I don't know if I would buy it and in hopes that it will become rare someday. I don't think that'll ever happen. I think Sony will stop producing them soon, even if they haven't yet. It will happen soon. And I don't know if Sony will ever do anything again with the plug-and-play market after just this disaster of a system when it came out. And you shouldn't be relying on the hacking community to hold it up. You should release a good product. And the other thing about this is Sega is going to be releasing a Sega Mini that I think is just going to be outright better than the PlayStation Classic. They've already told us about a library of games that is just better, and they still have to announce another 20 of them. So yes, out of the 3 companies that are producing these at this point, Nintendo, Sega, and Sony's on the bottom of the totem pole. We have to see the rest of the Sega Mini stuff and obviously the build quality and the emulation and everything on it. But there is a chance that the Sega Mini could end up being the best out of all of them, just because of the number of games, M2 helping with emulation. As long as Sega can nail the build quality, I think they'll be okay. That's the one thing I think the PlayStation Classic has over all of them. I actually think the PlayStation Classic has the best build quality out of them and the attention to detail when it comes to the system. It is a very well-built system. They just skimped on the part that is very important, which are the games and the emulation. So if you are thinking about getting a PlayStation 4 Pro, whether you're replacing yours, upgrading, or whatnot, you might as well order from Best Buy today if you've been kind of kicking around the idea, because, hey, you'll get a free PlayStation Classic that you can either save for Christmas and give to somebody you don't like, I guess, and or you can hold on to it, or even play around with it as something fun with the hacking scene and everything. Or hey, maybe you want to revisit some of the PlayStation games on there, although they don't play particularly well. But let me know what you guys think about this. We're to the point now where retailers are just giving these things away, probably because they have ridiculous amounts of stock in their warehouse, and I don't think this is going to be the last time you see it. I think things like if there are pallets around for Black Friday, guess what? You buy a lamp, you're getting a PlayStation Classic, and you can't turn it down. You have to take it home with you. Thanks, guys, for watching. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, dislike it if not, and I'll see you next time.